You're watching CTOM TV. Knowledge is power.
And the first one is, why doesn't the immune system kill cancer, Alex? What's going on there? Yeah, tell us all about that.
Well, there's about 11 reasons right now that we know of.
Okay.
These are, and this is a great question because it's a huge part of research right now.
Okay.
And it's led to the development of the new immunotherapies.
Mm.
So one of the benefits that cancer cells get from the immune system is that the immune system is preset to in a stem cell like process, very much like cancers. So the immune system provides all of these resources for cancer cells.
Oh.
So not only does it attack cancer cells and you want to disarm it, but it also, you can steal all its weapons. So it's sort of like an army that takes the other army's weapons after the battle.
Mm. This would be cancer who does this?
Yes, the cancer, yes.
To the immune system?
To the immune system,
okay,
yes.
so it can be hijacked and used for nefarious purposes.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
But why doesn't the immune system kill cancer when it's so good at helping us get over the flu or, colds, things like that?
So the immune system has a bunch of different ways. There's different, I won't get into the complexities of the immune system because it can get very complicated very quickly. It has a bunch of different ways where it's activated. And the two main ones are PD-L1, programmed death 1, and the other one is CTLA4. And the new one that we're looking at is called EDO. And what these are is, think of them as signaling pathways, but they're based on certain proteins and molecular features. And what they do is they help the immune system identify what's a normal cell and what's not a normal cell, or what's a cell that's growing too fast or is a problem, is a damaged cell. And so they really help identify that. The main one is PD-1, programmed death 1, and it kind of acts like a security card. You have those security cards when you enter a building and you flash the security card, swipe it. So it acts much like that. And
so when it's functioning properly, this PD-1.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So what cancer cells do is they create a large amount of this PD-L1 protein, and it creates this bubble around the tumor. And so then all of a sudden the immune system comes in to investigate, and it sees this bubble of PD-1 or PD-L1, and it says, well, this is just a normal cell. We're just going to leave it alone, and then it doesn't come back. Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of, I appreciate there's lots of different ways, but one of the first ways is it's the Trojan horse effect, right? It just kind of pretends to be a healthy, normal thing. Yeah. It's actually a good thing, a gatekeeper.
A gatekeeper, yeah.
So the immune system says, okay, in you come.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
And all of the pathways are similar. We believe there's about 11 different pathways. And right now we have drugs for CTLA4, one drug called ipilimumab. And we also have drugs for PD-L1. There's a bunch of different PD-L1 receptor and ligand inhibitors that have just been phenomenal. They really do a phenomenal job in many different cancers.
Okay.
And then the EDO inhibitors that are still more in development, and we haven't really defined which diseases we're going to use those in yet, but we're working on it.
Is EDO another pathway?
Yes,
that
is another pathway.
All right.
Like CTLA4.
All right.
PD-1.
And you said there are 11 of these pathways?
We believe there's 11. Yeah.
Okay. So it's early days. We've really just kind of developed some treatments to target 2 of those pathways, and they're looking at a third. So it's really promising what's
very
coming.
Promising, yes. Yeah. And so the main class of drugs, PD-1 inhibitors, what they do is they act like a sponge. They're a monoclonal antibody. And what they do is they act like a sponge to soak up the excess PD-1, that bubble that I explained. And that bubble, once that bubble's removed, hopefully the immune system or the immune cells, the T cells, will be able to identify the tumor. And typically what happens, we find that the best responses in people are when their tumors have a high percentage of these immune cells infiltrating in it. And so we have 2 different types of immune cells that typically enter a tumor. They're called TILs, tumor infiltrating lymphocytes, and Tregs, T regulatory cells. And so the Tregs are the ones that actually feed the tumors, supply the resources to the tumors, and the TILs are the ones that actually attack the tumors.
Okay.
So once you get activation of these TILs, they're able to kill the tumor from the inside out.
Got it. So keep the Tregs down,
Yep.
pump up those
Pump up the
TILs,
TILs,
and
yes.
that's how immunotherapy works?
Mm-hmm.
I
That's how
see.
PD-1 inhibitors work.
PD-1 inhibitors
Yeah.
specifically. Okay. All right. So how do I find out if this stuff's going to work for me?
Well, if you look at your pathology and you see a high amount of TILs in your tumor sample, that's one great way.
Okay.
There's certain genetic mutations that can indicate a susceptibility to them, and that genetic list is expanding daily.
Yeah.
There used to be high levels of PD-1, but that's kind of not really a great indicator anymore.
Yeah.
And now what we look at is something called tumor mutation burden. And so if there's lots of different mutations, then the PD-L1 drugs or the immune cells have an easier time seeing the difference between the normal cells and the mutated tumor cells.
Yeah, it just stands out more.
It stands out more.
Okay, so you would look, so having a PD-1 test wouldn't necessarily be sufficient to tell you whether a PD-1 inhibitor was going to work for you. Is that what you're saying?
It can in certain cancers, and it can indicate a percentage. But you want to have many factors that you look at, and not just PD-L1.
Okay.
You want to look at the tumor mutation burden. You want to look at the TILs inside of the tumor, and all of these together indicate what kind of a response you're expected to get.
Okay, but I'm still kind of hooked on the fact that there's 11 of these pathways that we know of, and there's like
three pathways we got drugs for.
Right, and still more being developed for those.
Yes, exactly.
And on that note, let's talk a little bit about what are we seeing in terms of increased survival rates or reduced side effects, for people who are able to use these drugs.
Well, when they work, they're long-term durable responses, very durable.
Wow.
Years and years and years. It's really been it's one of the greatest developments in cancer since we've transcribed the genome.
Wow. Immunotherapies,
PD-1 inhibitors.
And again, early days, so much more to come.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they really work well with combinations of different standard treatments. So combining it with chemotherapy and radiation therapy and so on. And they seem to work well on tumors that are inflamed, that have a lot of inflammation.
That's really exciting.
We're going to do a whole show someday on PD-1 inhibitors.
Okay. Oh, wow, great. Well, I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you for watching Ctome TV. Subscribe below and stay informed.